So like the one time I did that, and I was like, I went to a club, and I was thinking about like a deeper voice, and you know, I met one of my rugby heroes, Dan Carter. But he plays for New Zealand, and he's was somebody I really look up to. I used to look up to, in fact, and at the time he was actually because he's friends with my mother, and my mother knows him very well. He buys like wedding rings and stuff and diamonds and whatever from my mom. So anyway, and then I'm with my friend, and his brother is like best friends with Dan Carter. So anyway, I go up to Dan. I'm like deeper voice. I didn't actually speak. I was like that. Hi, but he gave me like such bad like vibes, and I was just like, what an arsehole, you know. But then that night I did that, and I went home with the Parlotones. So the Parlotones came home with me, and I had like a jam session with Khan from the Parlotones. And at the time I was studying, and but he actually they like left at like 3 in the morning on a private jet to go to like Opi Kopi, and he was like, just come with us, bro, like join us. And I was like, fuck. I was like, I gotta study, bro. Sorry, like I could have just gone, and like I don't know what would have happened then. So anyway, that was like happening. Like in terms of like Dan, maybe like I'm not used to like dominating a conversation, I suppose. Yeah, yeah. I'm probably not. I'm not used to like dominating a conversation. So anyway, I spent a lot of time studying the voice, Brett Manning. I know the voice backwards, like every part of it. Like I'm like a freak. I studied like every part of the voice for some reason. I just like just found it fascinating. So anyway, okay. So and like so I studied the voice was like a lot, and he's like the best vocalizer teacher. I like him a lot. I think he's in LA. He's brilliant, very patient, and then obviously like studying actors. As much as I like Daniel Day-Lewis and Johnny Depp, Keanu, like I always like dig Johnny Depp. I know it's a cliche, everyone digs him. I don't give a fuck. Like I just like I spent like hours just like watching videos of him like over and over. I just thought it was so hilarious. But like his way of talking is just like the best communicator like ever. Johnny is like the best communicator ever. Like with his facial expressions and just everything is like mad. But like I did know, like it's funny, like he speaks like with the very, like you can even see it, like when he talks, he's like always like down there, and then he's like yeah, he's always going yeah, and like I know I can read that guy's mind, and he's got this gift. It's kind of like it's not really even the gift of the gab. It's that he's such a good communicator. He doesn't actually even make sense. He talks and people listen, and he doesn't even make sense. Like he doesn't actually even know like what he is doing. Like he's like a proper actor. Like he's more well, like he does have the main acting thing, which is like a headless chicken, which is just like acting like not really thinking about what I'm doing, just like acting. So he does have that like actor's mentality. But actually, he's a poet. That's what he's a poet. He's an INTP. Like he's a poet. Like he conveys like inside emotion through his communication, and people are like drawn into the emotion in the conversation. They're not like so like obviously you read like 50% is body language, 20% is like, or 30% like voice tone, like maybe 10% is like eye contact, and then like 7% is like words. So it's like words is like the content, you know. And I'm like, the words are like so important. Like words are meaningless, but like the words depict like the concept about what is being said. And like for me, like actually that 7% is like the most important. But like the way people respond, as in like using their like biological nature and like responding on like emotions and autopilot, they're not really like in tune with what the truth is of the matter, what they think. So anyway, so I'm like bleak that the 7% like most people don't like qualify as. So so yeah, Johnny's a poet. So poetry, it's just sounds so good. You just get like drawn into what he's saying. And like I've dealt with these kind of people before, like a lot, especially like in my younger days and like the scene or whatever. And like I would listen to these people, and it was confusing because actually I could never like really figure out like where they were coming from. But yet for some reason I always noticed that they would say something that would seem like they knew what they were talking about. So that was confusing for me to figure out what they're actually saying, as opposed to where it's coming from and if it's even coming from anywhere. And that's why like yeah, it was a very tricky situation. Very, especially like on drugs and stuff, and people's greed and everyone wanting to be better than each other. You know, you can't get a straight answer, you know. So that was like highly, highly, highly frustrating. And then talking to like feel like somebody who's like that gifted of a communicator, to like have the trust for her to like open up to me about actually like what she thinks about like how she's doing it. It's like the greatest thing ever. It's like what I've been like looking for my whole life. Like somebody to actually like think about what they're actually doing and then say it. Like for so long I've been asking people like, how do you communicate? And they like they can't give me a straight answer. Like they don't actually know how they're doing it. But anyway, so yeah.